We are at the WPC conference here in Madison, Wisconsin. We're talking about critical race theory, politics, culture, economics, really talking about white supremacy, root causes of racism, and it's about 2,000 people here today, and hopefully it'll be a great show. ReyesPoetry.com.
Prison building, shutting down schools in Chicago, endless imperialism and war being perpetrated all over. You want to talk about taxpayer dollars for a conference that's probably sole goal is to not dismantle racism, but the system of white supremacy. And that's how I'm coming today. And it's gonna make people uncomfortable. Right? But
I also like to do is, because y'all have been learning, you know what I'm saying? You've been in this kind of traditional format, so we like to mix it up a little bit, just to kind of do some other kind of learning and stimulate that. So I thought it'd be great to welcome a new addition to the WPC family to the stage to kind of just warm y'all up in a different way before we get back into that scholarly mode. So y'all okay with that? Alright, so help me welcome Brother Reyes to this stand so he can wake y'all up a little bit.
I'm going to do this piece called Response to the Good Old Days. And it's about collective memory, history. It's about the historical amnesia of the United States and the process of that memory and how we are forced to sometimes forget certain aspects, and as folks of color, we search and we dig and we find these perspectives that are important in our communities to give us a true perspective of kind of the inequalities that exist in our community. So with that, I'll spit this piece. I'm definitely going to sit in to see the keynote. Also, I'll be here all day. Hopefully I can attend some more of the workshops, but I do have the table. You can check it out in the back. So here we go. Without anything else, response to those who says to get back to the good old days. Let's take it back to the good old days. Let's take it back to when Negroes and Spics knew their place, when chicks were lined up and put in the cancer, women of color with fast swords and transfer, who were bugged Dr. King and microphones to his hotel lamps. Let's take it back to when the CIA placed hundreds of Cubans on a certain bay and then let them be slaved and say, oh, we had nothing to do with it. It was what they wanted. Let's take it back to commie sympathizer witch hunts. Let's take it back to blacklists. Let's take it back to government control segregation because of pigmentation. Let's take it back to the control of island's population through sterilization. Let's take it back to when bullets flew, when Kennedy's brain was splattered, when Dr. King's skull was open, when Brother Malcolm sold up because of conspiracies buried in files and codes. Let's take it back to small black children being spread in the streets of the U.S., attacked by dogs, spit on by bigots. Let's take it back to chemical insecticide legal health that affected my family, my uncles, my tias, my grandparents who worked for under minimum wage as slaves and labor as the son to be infected by cancer. Let's take it back to the Zoot Suit Rise of America's they raped our women, beat our men, all in the name of defense. Let's take it back to when the only face of beauty was white, when Latino actors were forced to say they were Italian, when mixed mulatto children said they were not black. Let's take it back to when the only act on the big screen that depicted people of color was of sex, violence, and ignorance. Let's take it back to when Bruce Lee was forced to wear a mask because of his slanted eyes and leads it out to the Green Hornet. Let's take it back to when blacks could not play in the NBA, before LeBron, Iverson, Jordan, Zeke, before Magic, before Dr. J, before the Iceman, Wilt, and Russell. Let's take it back to the good old days when millions of Americans went overseas to fight in wars, only to return in body bags, and because they were not white, could not be buried in the cemeteries that they died to keep. Let's take it back to when the government used hymns to Harlem, Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit. Let's take it back to when jazz was monkey music, blackface, Uncle Tom, yes, massive mentalities. Let's take it back to when juke, when blues, jazz, and poetry were expropriated, and black and brown voices were drowned out. Let's take it back to Pinheiro, Algarin, Verdi, where pseudo-writers and poetry was only a dead white guy thing. Let's take it back to DJs, NC, graffiti, were not subcultures, but were black and Latino, before Beastie Boys, Third Base, and Eminem, when hip-hop was in ghettos and slums. Let's take it back to when masses raised slaves, when Thomas Jefferson had a love affair with one of his own. Let's take it back to college honey behind seats sitting across the blaze. Let's take it back to government to sit down and raise the outcome of AIDS. Let's take it back to the Treaty of Guadalupe, 40 acres and a mule. Let's take it back to the red man being affected by blankets from smallpox given to him by the U.S. of A. Let's take it back to the no question reality dogma of the age. Let's take it back to women are worth nothing, unable to vote, baby, making cookie tortillas and grease. Just as I bust time and time again. Let's take it back to Vietnam when men and women bled and bled and bled. That's when I hear people say, let's take it back to the good old days. I say, fuck that. No way. The good old days are as good as they say.
Yeah.